Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at how blockchain is impacting agriculture, particularly in Africa and India,
Right.
even if you're not a farmer.
Yeah,
There's going to be some really interesting insights here, I think, for everybody listening.
absolutely. And I think, we always hear about blockchain in the context of finance and cryptocurrency,
Right.
but the implications for agriculture are really fascinating and exciting.
Yeah, and it's really cool because it's like real world stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not just,
Yeah.
tangible benefits for people.
Yeah.
So our sources highlight that agriculture in Africa, it's like over half the population depends on it.
Absolutely. And it contributes significantly to GDP for many African nations.
Yeah.
But it also faces its own unique challenges.
Yeah.
Things like access to financing,
Right.
unfair pricing structures, these intermediaries that kind of take a lot of the profit away from the farmers themselves.
So how does blockchain help with this?
Right. So, blockchain by its very nature offers transparency, security,
Right.
immutability,
Okay.
and it kind of addresses those challenges that we just talked about.
So can you give us some concrete examples?
Yeah, absolutely. So one example is the 1 million avocados project that's happening in Kenya.
Okay.
And essentially what they're doing is they're tokenizing avocado trees.
What does that mean?
So essentially you can buy a token that represents an avocado tree.
Okay.
And this provides the farmers with capital up front.
Gotcha.
So a farmer like Sophia Wambui Ngamate,
Okay.
she can now get money to invest in her farm, improve her yields,
Okay.
and ultimately increase her income.
So it's like yield farming,
Yeah.
but like in the real world.
Exactly. It's a great analogy.
Okay.
And it's not just avocados.
Okay.
Project Mocha is doing something very similar with coffee trees,
Wow.
helping farmers like Paul Gachora to get funding for farm rehabilitation, new equipment.
Oh, wow.
And they even share profits with the token holders.
So both the farmers win and the investors.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
That's cool.
And the impact, it's not just about increasing profits. It's about giving these farmers financial stability, empowering them to make improvements,
Right.
and improve their livelihoods
Right.
and that of their communities.
So our sources say that blockchain can also change how the entire agricultural supply chain works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so for instance, you have InvestaFarm, and they're using blockchain to build credit histories
Okay.
for farmers that have never had access to traditional banking systems.
Oh, so how does that work?
So essentially, they're building this digital ledger,
Okay.
and that can demonstrate a farmer's reliability,
Gotcha.
financial stability to potential lenders.
So that's really valuable in places where they don't even have credit scores.
Right, exactly. It opens up all these financial opportunities
Wow, that's amazing.
that weren't previously available.
So it's not just about making things efficient, it's also about making things more fair.
Absolutely. It kind of levels the playing field for those who have been traditionally marginalized or excluded.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But how does this technology actually reach these people in these rural communities?
Right. That's a great question, and that's where we come to this hurdle of widespread adoption. And one of the things is, overcoming these challenges of regulatory uncertainty and bridging this digital divide in these areas.
Right.
And I think also it's really important to communicate the benefits
Right.
of blockchain in a way that farmers can understand.
Yeah.
Avoiding complex technical jargon. Really building trust, not only in the technology,
Right.
but also in the people and organizations behind it.
So to really use this for good, it's about building trust.
Absolutely. It's about creating this collaborative ecosystem
Okay.
where everyone from the farmers to tech companies to policymakers are all working together to build this more sustainable and equitable future.
I mean, it's so cool how they're using it with other technologies too.
Oh, yeah.
Like AI
Absolutely.
and IoT.
Yeah.
There's a project called Demetra, and they're doing a lot of really cool things
They are. Yeah.
with sustainability and compliance.
Yeah. One of the things that's really interesting is they're helping businesses
Okay.
meet their ESG goals.
Okay.
So environmental, social, and governance.
Gotcha.
And they've got this platform called the Due Diligence Service that collects data from farmers.
Okay.
And it generates risk assessments and reports.
So that companies can make sure that everything is ethically sourced.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is particularly important for things like coffee, where you've got concerns about deforestation,
Right.
fair labor practices,
Right.
environmental impact.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So they're kind of giving companies a way to make sure that they're being sustainable.
Absolutely a roadmap to sustainability.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And they're not just focusing on these large corporations.
Okay.
They've got a platform called Connected Coffee
Mm-hmm.
that really focuses on these smallholder coffee farmers.
And that's helping them compete in the global market.
Exactly, giving them the tools and resources they need.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just compliance. They're using AI and IoT to provide these farmers with real-time data and personalized recommendations.
So they can optimize their crop yields and stuff.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And improve resource use.
Wow.
Even monitor crop health and environmental conditions.
Wow.
With incredible precision.
I mean, it's incredible that technology can do that.
Yeah, it's really a powerful example of how technology can drive both profitability and positive social and environmental impact.
I know we're really excited about all this stuff, but
Yeah.
I think we have to acknowledge that this idea of disrupting things can sometimes be a bad thing.
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And I think framing blockchain as like a hostile takeover
Right.
can actually hinder collaboration
Yeah.
with the institutions that already exist.
It's like saying we're going to get rid of everything you've done and start over.
Exactly. And that's not a recipe for success.
No.
The goal here is to improve the lives of farmers
Right.
and create a more sustainable food system.
Yeah.
And that requires a more collaborative approach.
So it's about finding a balance between disrupting things
Yeah.
and working with the systems that already exist.
And focusing on that shared goal of improving the agricultural sector as a whole.
So it's not about blockchain versus traditional farming.
Right.
It's about how can we use blockchain to improve things.
Exactly. And I think we're starting to see that balanced approach emerge.
Yeah.
You know, there's a growing recognition that blockchain is a tool to address some of the challenges facing the sector.
And that's coming from everybody, from policymakers to farmers themselves.
Absolutely. Like you have Kenyan Senator Korongo Wathangwa.
Oh, wow.
He's publicly endorsed blockchain. He's even purchased an avocado NFT.
Wow.
So I think it shows that this conversation is shifting.
Okay.
And there's this growing understanding of blockchain's potential.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Yeah.
Now, as we delve deeper,
Okay.
it's important to consider not just the potential benefits, but also the potential consequences of tokenizing natural resources.
Oh, there's two sides to every coin.
Exactly. And in the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we're going to explore those potential consequences, both positive and negative.
Awesome. I'm really excited to learn more about that.
Yeah, me too.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, stay with us.
Welcome back. Last time we were talking about how blockchain could revolutionize agriculture in Africa.
Yeah.
We saw some pretty cool examples.
Yeah, some inspiring stuff.
But like any new technology, there are some potential downsides that we should talk about.
Right? It's not a silver bullet.
Right.
Technology is not inherently good or bad.
Okay.
It's all about how we use it.
So what are some of the downsides?
Well, one concern is the potential for increased concentration of power.
Okay.
You could have a situation where ownership of this tokenized farmland becomes concentrated in the hands of just a few large investors.
So like a digital land grab.
Exactly.
Where the wealthy people end up controlling the food.
Right. And that raises questions about fairness and equity.
Right.
Another risk is the volatility of cryptocurrency markets.
Yeah, those things go up and down like crazy.
Exactly. And if the value of these tokens representing these agricultural assets fluctuates dramatically, that could create financial instability for farmers.
I mean, imagine like making a decision based on the current price of your token.
Yeah.
And then it just tanks.
Exactly. We've seen how speculation can impact crypto markets. Yeah. And the idea of food production being subject to those same forces.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary.
It is a little bit concerning.
So are there things that we can do to kind of avoid this?
Yeah, there are definitely things we can do.
Okay.
One idea is to use something called stable coins.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, so they're cryptocurrencies that are pegged to the value of something in the real world.
Okay.
Like a basket of commodities.
So it's more stable than...
Exactly. It provides more price stability.
Okay.
We also need to think about the impact on traditional farming communities and cultural practices.
Right.
You know, if tokenization leads to standardization,
right.
homogenization of agriculture, that could erode biodiversity and local knowledge systems.
Yeah, we don't want to get rid of all the unique stuff.
Absolutely. You don't want to lose the richness and uniqueness of these different farming traditions.
It's not just about the economics, it's also about the culture.
Right, and that's why it's so important to have these open dialogues and involve local communities in the decision-making process.
So we need to make sure that this benefits everybody.
Absolutely. It's about making sure that tokenization is done in a way that benefits everyone.
So how do we make sure that we're using technology ethically?
Right, so ethical technology design.
Yeah.
It means designing systems that prioritize things like transparency, accountability, fairness, sustainability.
Gotcha.
We need to make sure that these technologies are used to empower farmers, not to exploit them. And they contribute to the well-being of both people and the planet.
So it's really about the values behind the technology.
Exactly. It's about the code.
Right.
But it's also about the values and principles that guide its development.
So we need a lot of different voices.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we're doing things right.
Diverse voices representing different perspectives and experiences.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the big picture.
Yeah.
But what does all this mean for the average farmer?
Right. So what advice would I give to a farmer who's just hearing about blockchain for the first time? I think the first step is education. You know, there are tons of resources available, both online and offline, that can help farmers understand blockchain and its potential applications.
So knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
What else?
I think it's important for farmers to connect with each other. You know, to network, share their experiences, because that can really accelerate adoption.
Gotcha. So it's about building community?
Yeah, a community of support. And learning from each other.
What about for people who are just buying the food?
Right. So consumers have a really important role to play in shaping the future of food and technology.
So what can we do?
Well, the first step is to become informed consumers. Ask questions.
Like what?
Like, where does our food come from? How is it produced? What impact do those production methods have on the environment and the people involved?
So it's like going beyond the label.
Exactly. It's about understanding the story behind our food. And I think as blockchain becomes more widely adopted, consumers will have access to even more information.
That's really cool. Like we can see exactly where our food came from.
Exactly. You can trace the journey of your food.
Wow.
From farm to table.
And that will help us make better decisions.
Exactly. It empowers you to make informed decisions. And it also creates a level of transparency that can hold businesses accountable.
So it's about using our voices to demand better practices.
Absolutely. It's about engaging in conversations about blockchain, advocating for policies that promote responsible innovation, supporting initiatives that empower farmers and protect the environment.
Our choices really do make a difference.
They do.
It's kind of crazy to think that blockchain is blurring the lines between technology, finance, and the natural world.
It is. It's like we're entering this new era where these seemingly disparate domains are becoming intertwined.
It's not just about the technology. It's about the people.
The values, the future we want to create.
And that future is being created right now.
It is.
By our choices.
By the choices we make, the conversations we have, the actions we take.
Well said. We've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
But we're not done yet.
No, not quite.
And the final part, we're going to explore some of the potential unintended consequences.
Yes, some of the things that we haven't even thought about.
Of tokenizing natural resources.
Exactly. We'll delve into those ethical and social considerations.
That sounds fascinating.
It should be a really interesting discussion.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive. And, you know, we've talked about the potential benefits and also some of the potential downsides.
Right. And it's important to remember that even with the best of intentions, sometimes things don't always go according to plan.
Right. So what are some of the things that could go wrong?
Well, one concern is, you know, data breaches and security vulnerabilities. You know, blockchain is often touted as this secure technology, but no system is perfect. So if a blockchain system is compromised, you know, sensitive data about farmers, their land, their crops could be at risk.
I mean, we've seen those data breaches in other industries. So it could definitely happen here.
And the consequences could be pretty severe, especially for, you know, smallholder farmers who might not have the resources to recover from something like that.
So how do we prevent this from happening?
Well, I think investing in robust cybersecurity is really important. You know, developers need to prioritize security. from the very beginning when they're building these systems.
Yeah.
And, farmers need to be educated about best practices
Right.
for protecting their data.
It sounds like a combination of technology and education.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else?
Another potential consequence is this issue of control and ownership. Okay.
If blockchain systems become the primary way that agricultural data is managed,
Yeah.
transactions are conducted,
Right.
there's a risk that control could shift away from farmers towards the companies that develop and operate these platforms.
So instead of giving power to farmers, it could take it away.
Right, that's the concern.
Okay.
It's crucial to ensure that these systems are designed in a way that preserves farmer autonomy,
Okay.
gives them control over their data and their assets.
So it's really about making sure that the technology serves the farmers
Absolutely.
and not the other way around.
Exactly.
Okay, are there any other things that we should be worried about?
Well, another thing to consider is the environmental impact
Okay.
of blockchain technology itself.
Mm.
Some blockchain systems,
Yeah.
particularly those that use a proof-of-work consensus mechanism.
Okay.
They require a lot of energy.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So that's a valid concern.
Especially since we're trying to make agriculture more sustainable.
So is there a way to fix that?
Well, luckily, there are alternative consensus mechanisms, like
Okay.
proof of stake,
Mhm.
that are much more energy efficient.
Okay.
So it's important to prioritize the development and adoption of those systems.
So making sure that we're not solving one problem
Right.
and creating another one.
Exactly.
Okay.
As with any new technology,
Right.
it's about carefully considering the trade-offs and
Yeah.
making informed decisions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we really need to be thinking about all these different aspects.
Right. It's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the social, the economic, the environmental context.
And it's about making sure that we're using it for good.
Absolutely.
I feel like technology is always evolving,
It is.
and we really need to keep learning and adapting.
Yeah, I think the world of blockchain and agriculture is going to keep changing, right? So we all need to stay informed.
I completely agree. Well, this has been another fascinating deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.